What is going on? It is Drew back with another video. And remember, if you want to continue to see videos like this, make sure you hit that subscribe button. Now, with the rise in the availability of online courses, we've reached a point where we can get degrees that are entirely online. And if we are taking classes on campus, we can also have a schedule that is a mixture of the immersion and on-campus courses, and also a few online courses sprinkled in between. And this has its advantages and its disadvantages, and a lot of students love them and a lot of students hate them at the same time. So the question is, which one is better? And I wouldn't necessarily say or choose which one is better, but I would really explore what are the pros and cons of each. And so when you have online courses, first and foremost, you have the flexibility of scheduling. Usually the courses are being taken at their own pace. There are some forms of online courses that are live online where there would be a scheduled lecture. So for example, at 10 a.m. on Tuesdays, you would log into Zoom or WebEx and you would have class discussion that way. And then you would have supplemental homework and additional readings and assignments on your own time with those set deadlines as if you were taking the class in person. And there are also other formats where the class is at your own pace, where you get the syllabus, all of the assignments, all of the modules up front, and you work through them on your own time. And so the upside of this is at your own pace, you can finish the class whenever you want. You can spend time, you can spend 2 weeks and completely just hammer it and work ahead and get everything finished. Or you can take your time and do the live online and really start to have the class discussion and kind of spread it out so you're not overwhelming yourself with your other classes. I think some of the major concerns, I would say the first concern with choosing to do all online classes is the technical requirements. Typically a computer would be able to connect to the learning management system like Canvas or Desire to Learn or Blackboard. But what I'm thinking of is internet. And what we've seen in the past year and a half to 2 years is when our internet cuts out, we lose meetings, we lose classes, we lose progress and assignments, or we may not even have access to internet. So those are things to consider if you're thinking about taking online courses or an online program. The other drawback to those online courses is sort of this digital wall, if you will, where you are really looking at your classmates and your instructor through a digital screen and you're having those discussions, but you're not really in the room with them and you're not really connecting with them. And I've actually had some students tell me that when they do these classes via Zoom, they have questions and they want to put the questions in the chat, but the instructor doesn't always see those questions, or at the end of class, they want to kind of hang around and wait to ask those questions directly to the instructor. But the instructor just leaves and the class ends with that. So some classes may have the opportunity to talk one-on-one with the instructor, some may not. And while you will be in with your classmates, you may still not feel as connected. Now, on the flip side, with in-person classes, the severe limitation is the scheduling. So those classes are going to be set, typically Monday through Friday. There will be some evening classes and maybe some Saturday classes. So if you're working, you may really have to massage your work schedule to get it to work around your class schedule, because that is set in stone and that's not going to change for you. Whereas the online classes, you might be able to get away with lecture from 9 to 10 a.m., but you can spend your evening, even 2 to 3 to 5 in the morning doing the homework and then working on the side. So there's that drawback, and there's also in terms of time, you have to think about the commute and going to campus for those in-person classes, the drive time, walking across, getting into the building, and then when you leave that one class and you're going to your next class, how long will that take you? And that can get dicey, but it's also not a problem at the same time. However, the upside of the in-person class, which the online class does not offer, is the interpersonal connection. You actually get to sit in the room with your instructor and your classmates, and this does make a difference. Because if you can get into some very deep discussions or some heated topics, you can really start to get a feel for the room and a feel for your classmates through their nonverbal behavior and also where the instructor is starting to go. And again, with that digital screen, you don't really have that sense. And if you do have questions for instructor, you can hang around. You can hang around in the classroom after class. The instructor will see you waiting and you will be able to ask those questions. Whereas in an online format, they don't know if you have those questions because you're not really waiting if you're still there, if that makes sense. So there is a huge difference with that. I would say if you're going to mix your schedule between online and in-person courses, you really need to pay attention to those times. So again, going back, if it is a live online class, how is that going to rub up against your in-person classes? So if you do have that 10 a.m. to 11 a.m. online class, and then you have an 11:30 in-person class, do you have the ability to take that online class at home and then get to campus on time? And if not, then you need to consider coming to campus before 10 a.m., finding a place, whether it's in the library or somewhere that's really quiet and secluded, to log into your virtual class from 10 to 11, and then being able to go to class from there. But now that also raises the question, if you have to go to campus for internet, or because the 10 a.m. class bumps up against your 11:30 class, does it really matter if you're taking an online class? Why don't you just take an in-person class at 10 a.m.? Isn't that sort of the same thing? I don't know. That's for you to decide. And that's the beauty of it. So mix and match. Go for it. I don't really know or would have an opinion on which is better. I think it depends on you. It depends on your learning style. The other thing with an online class on your own pace is you really have to keep yourself motivated and you really have to structure your time. Because when you're just reading assignments and there's no one there to tell you to do them, a lot of other things can get in the way and you can start to push that aside. So that is one important thing to consider if you're not the best with time management. Overall though, I do encourage you to experiment. If you're a little hesitant with an online course, then consider taking an online course that is an elective. A lot of students that I've seen in the past, they would take an elective that was about dog behavior. I think that would be a simple online class. It wouldn't be too demanding or too fast paced. And you can start to get a feel for what the expectations are in that online environment with responding to message board conversations, submitting assignments, asking questions, or having conversations in that live lecture portion. If you know you're solid with online, or if you don't have a choice with your work schedule, then go for all online. But at the same time, I would also encourage you to try to take at least one in-person class. Because when you're going to campus and you're sitting in that classroom and you're seeing your classmates, you're going to start to form that community. And being able to talk to your instructor in person and being able to see other students in other buildings in these classrooms, you're going to start to feel connected to the campus and the college itself. And when you feel connected to the college, that's what makes it easier to persist when things get rough. That's what makes it more likely for you to be able to seek support and resources when you need them, when you feel like you're a part of that larger community. So in-person classes, while they may not be as convenient as online classes with the pace of the world today and with a lot of students wanting to work full-time in addition to taking classes, they are still a center point of your college education, and they are so vital to your experience overall. Because when you're enjoying your classes and you're enjoying the experience, you're going to be more successful. So both online and in-person classes, they do have their pros and their cons. And it really comes down to your strengths and also your preference and your interests, or just what works for you and your schedule and what is ultimately feasible. So mix it up, explore, just like the classes when I recommend exploring options with schools or classes, explore your options with online or in person. Have fun with it. After all, this is a time to have fun while you're learning before you enter that professional world. So let me know, have you taken online classes? Did you like them? Did you not like them? What were the drawbacks? And would you prefer in person? And so what happened with you? Were you taking in person and then the pandemic hit and then you were online? What were those differences like? Let me know down in the comments. I would love to hear your thoughts and your opinions on what you think is best. And with that, I will catch you in the next one.